Hello LDRPians, I am Abhishek Devpura, fourth year mechanical engineering student at LDRP. I volunteer for various activities at LDRP where we focus on engaging the students in a variety of initiatives. I welcome you all to this yet another interesting episode of the Alumni Talk. Alumni Talk is an initiative taken to help LDRPians know each other by providing a platform to connect and to motivate everyone by demonstrating the good works of the alumni by hearing from them. A special thanks to Mr. Dhaval Raja and Mr. Sneh Shahani for coordinating the alumni talks. Mr. Dhaval helps to coordinate the talk and provides all the technical support, while Mr. Sneh helps to prepare the content and design the theme of the talks. It is a great initiative taken by them for upcoming students of LDRP. It is my great pleasure to welcome Mr. Bhumik Shah, a 2007 batch alumni who is a senior design engineer at the Research and Development Department of Honda America and a huge automobile enthusiast. Bhumik is equally skilled in management space, being a leader throughout his journey. Today, he is with us to share his experience and the future success with us. Hello, Mr. Bhumik. I hope you are doing good and everything is great at your end. It feels great to interact with someone who once shared the same classroom and the experience that we do today. Thank you so much for joining us. We are pleased to have with us today.
Thank you,
Hello,
Abhishek.
Bhumik.
Thank you, Abhishek. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak with you, especially the upcoming mechanical people.
So let's start with the questions. Can you please share your experience during MS in the US and the struggle that you faced during that period?
Sure. As you told me, I am a 07 mechanical engineering batch start point and 011 graduate. As soon as I finished my bachelor's in mechanical engineering, I moved to US in August 2011. Like most of the people, I had a dream over here coming into the US and working to the major companies as an R&D departments. I wanted to be in a technical field, so I aimed when I came over here. I aimed to get as much technical knowledge as I can in aspect of the mechanical developing fields over here. So when I came over here in the US, so I started taking the courses which helped me leverage the skills and expertise which I can use in over here to develop myself and to establish into the good company. The struggle has been quite a lot because as we come from Gujarat, we are a Gujarati speaking state. Directly coming over here, it's completely different. First was a language barrier, second was a food barrier, and third was the India. What I learned is a manufacturing country, while over here is an R&D development state. So you need to get out of that manufacturing mentality and actually immerse yourself into getting an expertise into the designing, how to design a part, what goes inside the concept of the designing, and how to establish yourself and the product for actually the manufacturing people to make it easier, better, comfortable, and with less cost.
So that's a lot of things to do when you are in the MS.
It's the heart, right? That's what everybody says. Mechanically, it's the heart of the entire body. It helps you pump through the. Even if you say you are working in a computer where you require electricity, you require some mechanical turbine fans in order to cool the computer. So nothing taking away from what the other streams have done in the past, but we try to leverage and use our expertise and technology in many different things, in many different industries like oil and gas, automotive, aerospace, civil. So need to learn, each and every company, each and every field has their own sets of requirements in order to achieve a single product. Because if you go into oil and gas, you need to drill, you need to go to offshore, seashore. So viscosity, temperature, everything under the ocean is different as compared to when you go into the sky, where the temperature sets of rules, the aerodynamics, that's completely different. So you need to understand between plus and minuses of both the areas.
That's great. It's a thrilling experience at different temperatures, right?
It is, certainly. the sets of rules and parameters change completely. One time you are defining your GS 9.8 meter by second square, but when you go to under the ocean, it's no longer G value.
Yes, I totally agree with you. So let's jump to our second question. Can you share your successful journey and how did you get an opportunity to work with Honda? I request you to share some details about your work experience.
Mhm. So I did my master's over here in mechanical engineering with specialization in heat and mass transfer, slash a concentration as a major in design. So doing that, I got some enough knowledge over here to work as a base point to start working as a design engineer into certain fields. My main core concentration was always into aerospace, because where the heat and mass transfer and the automotive sector, heat and mass transfer come into the picture a lot. Second thing, after I graduated, the times were tough at that time. So we are just coming out of the Great Depression. 2013 was a time that America started to boom together back. So it was first 6 months were tough, but I got a chance in the wonderful opportunity called Zodiac Aerospace. Now it's overtaken by Safran Aerospace, which actually develops interior of aircrafts as well as the engines of commercial defense, missiles, everything else. So I started as a design engineer while looking at, just like everybody else, trying to learn as much as I can into that field. I got a training from many different people. Those were excellent people to work with. I learned a lot how to develop the interiors of aircrafts, of the mechanical parts and assemblies that goes inside developing one economy seat. I'm not talking about the business class seat. It's just one economy seat. We try to use at least 9,000 parts in developing one small seat.
9,000 parts?
Yes, that's 9,000 parts. When we are looking at the business class seat, it comes somewhere around 30,000 parts. So I was fascinated looking into it. I never got a chance, or I never got that information saying, oh, you need to work on this part and assembly. That will be small, but actually it will contribute to make something big. During the course of time, for the first year, I was a design engineer one. Looking at what I was doing over there, my manager decided to help me and put me into electrical engineering as well. So because I wanted to learn some of the circuits and implementations about how we can integrate about mechanical and electrical aspect going into the one common factor. So what I started working in the wire harness assembly, ECU placements, the electronic units placements, and with the brackets that we develop it, considering the force and the actually G values required in order to stabilize the units and according to the aircraft ITAR requirements. It was almost 1.5 years. Then I was developing these seats and interiors of aircraft for many different airline industry. It lasted for almost about 3 years. When at that time Honda approached me, one of the Honda client approached me, and that's where I started working for Honda as a senior design engineer. When I transitioned from Zodiac or Safran Aerospace to Honda, I was as design engineer 3 in Zodiac seats of Safran Aerospace, and I was hired as a senior engineer over here at Honda to work on the future models of the Honda R&D projects. Since then, I think I started working in Honda in 2017. Since then, I am over here actually helping the product of Honda for building it for the US people.
That's great. So as you are a design expert, can you please throw some highlight on the engineering design process and the various softwares that are available in the field, which we can learn from?
Sure. So I'm still learning into my designing part of it. There is a lot to learn right now still. But as much as I know in the part of designing, a lot of things goes into designing a single part. For manufacturing of a car, it's a single part which is assembled to an assembly part, which is then goes to the final product on the main line in order to ship out to the customer. So it goes to stack up for each and everything. The most important thing what we need to understand is the material what we use, the thickness, then the mating part from one part to another part, the tolerance of both the mating parts, and then when it ships out to the factory, where the factory can actually develop that. So there are a lot of things happening in between. in a designing process, and that's where the prototype development comes into the picture. Whatever we make it in, we have a prototype development event where we try to test and tools our things, whether actually it can work in the real life or not. Designing is, yeah, we can design the part, but somehow that mating surfaces, mating parts and other things can provide like a negative like effect into final assembly, where we as a Honda develop, it's a large scale manufacturing unit. We the technicians, the people who actually help us make the cars in the factories, they try to make at least 1000 to 2000 cars a day, depending on the volume we have it. So we need to understand how much toll it takes for a people over there to work ergonomic aspect of how to build the car. We need to understand that during that 8 hours of their job, they don't have to bend much. They should not bend much. They should not rotate, twist their hands. It will have an adverse effect on their health and their body. So not only designing, but we need to understand the human ergonomics body that goes inside designing the part as well.
So like it's a human concentric design in US, right?
It's always, it's everywhere, not only in US, because we need to understand we are designers, but there are like thousands and thousands or lakhs of people who are making that product successfully by making it.
So you are the like key heart people of the company.
Each and every people, making a product is a collaborative task of more than 2000 people. It's not just me. Each and every people are assigned to a different task, where I am my expertise comes in is making the brackets, making the surrounding parts, and making the wire harnesses, the wires connecting from point A to point B with the circuit routings. We need to understand where the power output is coming from, and we need to distribute it in order to function all the units, and what we call in our new life bells and whistles, the autonomous driving, the electrical powertrains, everything else.
That's great. So I have a question from the students. Which are the current softwares in the industry that every mechanical engineering student must learn in the world of work?
I will take this question as differently. Tools are a way to express our design. I would always try to focus on making a design imagination better. You can use any tools in order to make that design. Tools are a final representation, or like when you're making a sketch, you make a sketch on the paper. So that's a final outcome, but you might have decided something in your head how to design that. So try to develop that design. Tools, it depends on the industry we are working on. What I learned into my 7 years of staying in the US is each and every industry is using a different tools in order to show or design their parts. Aerospace uses CATIA. Automotive industry uses Unigraphics and CATIA. The micro small industries, they uses SolidWorks and Pro Engineering. So I'm pretty sure you will not be able to learn each and every tools or be an expert level in learning all the tools without having a hands-on experience. So what I have learned in the past and what my teachers have told me, take a paper, try to fold that paper, try to whatever you have imagined to making a tool or making that part. If you can actually fold that paper and make that exact shape work, then it will be good. Let me show you an example. This is the paper. Let's say you want to make an L-shaped bracket, just a simple bracket. You always say paper is not there. Paper is flexible. Steel and other materials are not. Yes. Right? If you fold this, you can see that there is a curvature happening.
Yes.
Right? How much curvature is happening? If you fold like almost about 90 degrees, this is called a bend relief in our designing terms.
Yes.
There are times that this is not possible in real life. Because of the material, we need to apply the thickness of the steel, thickness of the material as well, and their bending capacity.
Yes.
At that time, you need to understand. We need to show that we need to give like 2 cutouts over here. That dictates like a flange. If you cut this out, you can fold this like 90 degrees. If you remove this material.
That's great.
So always try to have a concept like take it a paper, try to actually visualize your designing. you, we have beads, we have flanges in order to give the actually what you should say, the rigidity of the part. We develop this type of flanges on the sides in order to have a stress dissipation, in order to make that the part what you are developing rigid, in order to achieve overall performance of the car. Using the metals, I have learned from my designing is, if you're making a part to part and then combine it to the main assembly, there is always, and it's a car, it comes to the bumps and potholes everywhere, right? So if it comes to a pot, it has always tend to have a vibration, oscillation, everything else. So it has potential to have some squeaking, rattle and squeaking noise inside the metal. We develop a design, we have to develop a design that actually it has a greater potential, that we don't have wind noise, rattles and squeaking noise, other type of, like in VH what we discovered is noise, vibrations and hoarseness of the car. This appeals to the end users which have a better product and reliability of overall Honda cars.
That's the reason why Honda cars are like most not making much noise.
Honda cars are known for its reliability and standardization. So it has a customer-centric focus about what normal people looks into it. India has grown a lot for a two-wheeler of Honda market.
Yes.
They understand the people's mentality about how they want to approach it. Honda will never be a pioneer of making some new technology. It has a new technology, but it will try to implement that technology, make it better and affordable for end consumers or normal people like us to actually use it.
So totally agree with you. So our next question is, what are the career opportunities in India and in the US?
Sure. So India and US are mainly dependent on two different ideas, such as India is completely a manufacturing hub. That's what I see. US is US and thanks to a lot of talent happening in India, we have a good 1 billion, more than 1 billion people of workforce that helps us to actually make a cheaper, better, repetitive stuff or parts and assemblies that can be used in making a final assembly or product for entire world to use it. But I will take a step back to make it like US actually helps making that product or design that product efficiently. What I have learned over here is that US is heavily dependent on R&D, right from the schooling. There are big league companies like even Honda, General Electric, many other companies over here, they fund the schools or each and every people as a student to help them actually do a research work for them. In turn, they will pay their tuition fees. So as a company, okay, I will pay your tuition fee. Please help me with making this as a part. Please help me support the research and development activities in making that. And so you gain some practical experience. You get the knowledge of R&D. You gain the experience about how the market is heading. And then if everything goes well, they would like, because you have worked so much for them, they will have an opportunity to hire you and actually help them entertain like for a good amount of time to actually establish yourself and to learn more about R&D. So you get a lot of R&D technologies opportunity right from the start in the US that I think as a startup, India is growing. I have seen a lot of potential in the last upcoming years because of the Prime Minister Modi. I think Startup India has been a great campaign. I see a lot of people encouraged to actually develop a new product. And I hope one day I would be able to work under some good Startup India company that can help develop a product all the way around the world.
Definitely, India is welcoming enthusiasts like you back in our country to work together and strongly.
I certainly do.
Do you remember some golden moments at LDRP? It would be great if you could share some of them.
As a mechanical engineer, you always know we have a not a good reputation inside the classes. But again, we try to get things done no matter what. We are a people who actually work on the floor, and we are also the people who work on the big league companies or the CEO management. So My overall journey at LDRP was quite a pleasant one. It was surprising at each and every moment of time. I made a lot of friends. There are a lot of teachers over there who were helping us actually go through the actual learning processes. While as a youth, we will always try to get out of the class as much as possible. So looking at that picture, LDRP had helped me get my starting knowledge phase up to the mark where I can actually successfully establish myself as a design engineer in the US. I do remember, with the help of Manan Jasani, Devdutt Bhatt, other people who were actually the Mecanema secretaries and presidents. Mecanema is an event. I don't know whether you know about it or not, but that was a mechanical event of robotics and other things that we try to encourage people from all the other universities. It's a tech festival in the LDRP. So we got a handover from our seniors, where we tried to had a robotics aerodynamics event. We had made a cardboard and a wooden fiber plane that can actually fly in the sky, from concept to actually flying small, you can say a mini aircraft.
Prototype, you can say.
It's a prototype, but it's working prototype. So yes.
That's great.
We had a hands-on coordination with all of my friends, even the seniors, all the teachers, everybody else, the lecturers, and those were actually the good knowledge sharing platforms at the tech festivals, where other people from other universities comes into our university to actually help us gain our knowledge, share their experiences from different universities, where we all get together. Those were some precious moments of LDRP for me, for sure.
So it was the only place to network together strongly, right?
Yes, for sure. Before that, we went to other universities as a promotion, that please do come into our university. We are organizing this. We had got a chance to go to the entire Gujarat. We went to almost 60 universities as part of promotion to actually help other students understand what we are trying to achieve, what we are trying to do, and then we can all get together and make something spectacular.
That's amazing. So thank you, Mr. Shah, for sharing your valuable experience with us, giving us the guideline and highlighting more exposure in the mechanical field. I am sure we all gained some wonderful insights from your story. I would also like to thank Ms. Priya Suchak, Mr. Kevin Patel, Mr. Darpan Kandar, and many others who voluntarily contribute to this initiative by serving in a variety of capacities. Please like, share, and subscribe to this video. If you have any queries or know anyone who should be giving this interview, please get in touch with Mr. Dhaval Raja or send a direct message whenever you watch this video. We will get in touch with you. Thank you.
Thank you.